20 May 2023, Saturday. It's a free day for everybody, like any holiday, but sometimes we have things to do. We will suggest to kick the show business phase 4, and now having the International Criminal Court on it. We will observe that the phase 1 we had the laundering and the white collar crime, considering the storage of money on specific notes that has a bank account and can operate by the redistribution or distribution of money, and sets the idea as Ponzi scam, at least as a structure. The internal control and the suppression, considering the drug, the dependence, leads to bondage, dominance, submission, sometimes record feeding, videos and things that are kind of really perturbator things and freaks anyone out, except if you like those strange things. And this was kind of the main idea in the very first moment. This combination of elements sets a structural design very similar to an institution and going as parallel activity in the same way. Observe that the productive system, we could get the piracy as, the collinear thing without the proper attributes as the thing itself. We could check yet that this kind of mobilization globally starts as operation local by domain, generally international or global, and must pass through the international area as system. In the way we had the postal system, and you buy your things, for instance, at the e-commerce website and receive destroyed, and the audit made by the international player that sent the item can get that to us at the local postal system, the problem on the violation of your property. And if you had this kind of thing crossed with many other violations, of course that you will get that maybe the area or conjuncture has problems. We will invite one more time the International Criminal Court players, organization, institution to take a look at the Brazilian Constitution, Article 173 and before 170, which is the general principle and directives at the economic order and financial system considering the Brazil. The white collar crime law in Brazil is the law 7492, I think. The Article 1 has the players on it, and 25 up on the silence of institution, judicial power and prosecution, which is illegal. They are all. 313A of the criminal law, the gap is a fake record. It's a crime. Do not open an investigation after have the internal control failure and evidence. It's criminal association too. And we will check that this 170 article says that you have the principle as main principle, the private property on clause 2. You take a look on Article 5, all items that we had before, since the clause 9 up to 13 plus 22, which is the guarantee as property violated by Brazil and peers, and we are constructing the asset as intellectual asset. We observe that the item 4 is the free competition between economic agents and players. The clause 5 on Article 170, it's the defense of the consumer. which Brazil public departments and peers in solidarity by institutional abuse and violates, trying to steal data or industrial secret, broking or guarantees and basic rights at the Consumer Law 8078, Article 6, Clauses A and 10. We will check that after having this, the violation of basic rights, international guarantees, considering the Article 5, guarantee number 33, that Brazil and peers on public departments on records are unable to present, especially hounding the modification of data on public department by specific hands. It's saying that the Brazil as a state can act at the economic order. The paragraph number 5 sets the responsibility of directions, board groups acting in a misguided way at the economic order. We will check another thing, which is the guarantee 40, let me see, 41, saying that the law will do the punishment about discrimination against rights and fundamental rights as freedom, including the faults and the violation you did even beyond the limits of your jurisdiction, right? You must, if you did this as a board member, for instance, or a company doing the hiring process violating basic rights and guarantees, you are fired. If you did this as a judge or a minister, you must ask your resignation, showing the dignity of your state, that some of them are noticed with non-dignity, or be destituted by judicial order from United States. You will check that the show business, phase 4, 1, we had the laundering. Phase 2, we had the piracy. Is that correct? The piracy and the laundering. And the phase 3, kind of the piracy, was the phase 3. The phase was white collar crime, something like this. This sets the idea as Ponzi. And on present time, we have, as we could observe, the regular area with criminal activity on it, leading to criminal groups that in general are linked with others criminal groups by purpose. We indeed had to trace only one thing as interconnection, because they will be interconnected between each other by the purpose. And then after this, we can cross through the local to global, passing through international like the G7, or from global, close the door and solving the problems. We will check that the phase 4 is suggested to operate the fintech scam, because we will observe that the artist receiving money has a bank account and has arranged as influence, broadcasting, and stimulation in general, having the insertion by estimative and the replacement by things overestimated as price makers, leading to a supply chain very, corrupted and corrosive, because if you do the crackdown seizures on regular business by institutional fail, the players at this scam will take advantage and probably will offer items with discount police that had been backed by the money, as weak dollars or hot money, including the fake currency. Then they will suffer a financial choke, because indeed they are in a vulnerability situation, and will probably lose the asset. And this relation between the institutional illegal empowerment by corruption and nepotism, having the action as logical sequence of crimes through and by abusive procedure, suppressing your basic rights and guarantees, allowing the constitution of a parallel structure or system as organization, which leads to piracy, since the productive system of items parallel serves after you run at the company like the provider of communication or internet to obtain how you do things and such parallel structures. And it will be worse if made by infiltrated agents inside those companies to take advantage of that situation and the abusive procedure and broadcast the industrial elements or elements as serves. Then we will check that the Ponzi scheme now, with the artists holding the money and have the redistribution, will kind of saturate, but you have many artists, because we are talking about the show business, and of course that we will have one more time here the interaction as purpose in the same way we had here, leading in a very specific moment to at least one government doing the support of activity as entertainment linked with the organized crime, and any other can be, for instance, to host a global event as FIFA or a rock and roll party or something like this. The fintech now, we will have the combination between things, because the big tech is considered that it's only about the communication and websites kind of things with chat. It's much more and much more simple to get things with such a complex structure. The laundry and the financial system is limited, so you had to be beyond this. The credit is spread and elements related with, and bigger than the financial system is the communication. And the relation between the communication in worldwide scale through the internet, which is the World Wide Web, will pass in a very specific moment by the architecture that has relation with the big tech, and you'd like to do the regulation of things as big tech, considering the elements on it that in general go as crypto currency. And now starting the idea as fintech, you have the mining activity, which allowed you to get the cashback scam. The cashback scam is very related with the laundry scam, but now considering that the previous model, when you had the systemic mobilization as parallel structure and financial system, having the suppression of real businesses and activity, especially observed at the COVID, and the cashback, you will have the price of something, which is, for instance, 10, and you will do the payment, and by specific conditions you will receive some money here, right? Considering the capital asset as your property, you have now this activity And in general, you will have the association in the way you did at the past, which is the discount police that allow you to do the insertion of, uh, illegal money, and nowadays the cashback, which is an extra element here, having a participation at your activity and also the asset that you had a small loss in the past as discount police, and nowadays another one with cryptocurrency and cashback scam, because you will have your result. And for instance, if your activity must be 0 up to 10 to support your entire activity and be at the break-even point without no gains, if you have the participation as 3, your result will be here as 7. And this area here, as you can observe, you had as loss, which is the legitimacy to apply the consequence at the court, or have decision as investment on your company. For instance, the IBM or the AT&T, the Ford Motors, the General Motors, the Nissan. And as you can observe, the criminal activity is now running your game even without do the majority, controlling your activity by index. This only will continue if you have the association, considering the infiltrated agents taking advantage of this to broadcast things in a legal way. The company must talk, do the dismiss, and request the prison of criminal investors. Show Business Phase 4, the preliminary introduction. Have a great weekend.